So today I'm kind of going to talk about a lot of stuff to do with like what Rebirth did right, what it did wrong, how some of it happened, stuff like that. What I hope is somehow fixed for Afterbirth, even though I don't see how they could fix some of the stuff. Just stuff like that. A lot of like outside of the game influences on the game, and it's kind of like a post-mortem for the like initial version of Rebirth before Afterbirth comes out. So I'm just gonna have an Isaac run in the background and just kind of see where things go. Pretty much gonna talk to you guys, of course, gonna give a lot of thoughts, probable potential history, make me walk. So kind of initially when the game came out, I would have told you that it was a harder game than the original, and I did tell people that when they asked, because it should be, in that the enemy design and room design and such is a lot less forgiving. It's a lot more brutal than in the original game. And before you unlock a lot of stuff, it's actually pretty tough to deal with some of the things. But where it turns out the game went most wrong, and I'm just getting right to that, was listening to us, the community, and like me. I'm not trying to say that it wasn't me. I was a loud voice in this as well. And killing the special item system. So, the new special item system, where only like the most game-changing, and I mean game-changing not in a positive sense, but in like this is a very different way to play the game sense. Only those items are special now. And I don't honestly care if any of them appear in any of my runs. And that's where it went wrong. Like, we all thought, and I do mean me as well, we all thought that the special item system was making the original less fun, when really it was kind of most of the reason that it was challenging. In a good way, of course. By not getting all the good items all the time, you had more fun because you actually had a challenge. The items were like a treat to find. There are still items like that, of course, that aren't special, because they do have rarity values, just like in the original they had rarity values, but also special or not special. But you like almost always get a game-breaking combo of some sort, or an overpowered build of some sort. And it just became like really easy eventually, kind of. So once you have stuff unlocked, once you get used to the game, it's just easy because the game always hands itself to you. And this is something that I've talked about a lot. How I really have to try to not have free runs all the time. And it's weird, but like, we all thought that the special item system sucked, and it turned out that the special item system was the reason that the game was interesting and fun, unique and difficult. Which kind of sucks. So the old special item system turns out to be better for the game as far as an interesting and difficult game is concerned. Which is like the weirdest thing, because it's the opposite of what everyone thought and what everyone wanted. Until at least I realized that, like recently, that it's the reason that that game was more difficult, but not in a bad way. Because, like, pretty much this game would be harder with the same special item system. It plays better, it's faster, the enemies and rooms are tougher, like I said. But the items are just too strong, and the characters are too strong. Which, kind of, I didn't expect, and I know a lot of people didn't expect. And that's the biggest thing that brings this game down for me. Okay, yeah, the original special item list wasn't perfect. Definitely not. Wow, I got triple shot again. The original special list was far from perfect. But it did a lot more for the game than we thought it did. Especially, like, you know, I was a pretty major voice in that, I think. It did a lot more than I thought it did to make the game interesting. replayable and all that, worth optimizing. Like, it's not worth optimizing this game because of how easy it turned out. The game optimizes itself for you because it just gives you everything most of the time. Well, I mean, that's, yeah, in Afterbirth, new enemies I'm sure are going to be difficult. Because they're difficult in this game. The new enemies are all really tough. A lot of the stuff you have to deal with is really tough to deal with. Unless you have all the items it's giving you. Which is, like, the biggest thing, is what I'm trying to get by. So... Oh, this would... Oh, wait, okay. That works, too. So I didn't really realize how big of an impact that had. But it did. Still, I do want to say, this game does look, feel, and play a lot better. Some people don't agree about look, but I think it's generally better. And it has the makings of kind of exactly what would be perfect for this game. We thought we all wanted combos and things, and we ended up with combos constantly. It made it free. Which is kind of sad. I'm hoping that... Dang it. Okay, I need to just... Okay. I'm hoping that Afterbirth either changes rarity values or makes things more difficult somehow. Obviously, there are more combos. It's kind of the thing they're focusing most on. Yeah, I can't agree with you about the original's graphics being better. I think it looks really, really ugly now. Like, so bad. Can't stand it. This looks so much cleaner and better to me. But, you know, that's an opinion thing. I don't know how they would do something like link items to difficulty. That would be a really, really large amount of code to determine what each item and each combo of items should do to impact the difficulty of the game. When really, I think that, as it turns out, the old special item system fixed all of those problems. So if they could implement something similar, or make the game that much harder, but I think making the game that much harder to compensate would be a really bad idea. Because I think that would just make it so that on those bad runs where you don't get lucky and get everything handed to you, everything's impossible. But, like, as it stands, I don't care when special items don't show up. I don't care about any of them in any of my runs, basically. Whereas before, it was a constant choice you had to make. Is this item worth not getting that item? Or, you know, the potential for getting all of these other 150 items? All that stuff. Item tiers could be a problem to solve, or a solution to the problem. For sure. Maybe. But I think that's kind of what I was hinging on with this whole thing. Okay, I can reroll again. Special item system turns out to be really good. Removing it turns out to make the game really easy. They listen to us. It's not like it's their fault for that happening. Harder hard mode? Depends how they do it. Oops. Is there... I mean, if you've unlocked the stopwatch, then it's able to show up in the shop. You just have to unlock it. That's what you mean by a special requirement, then yes, otherwise no. This is... If this is dark, then I feel bad for your monitor. Like, it's painfully bright. Yeah, I mean, that's also bad about special items. But I don't think that's the biggest thing. You know. Other things. Obviously, they messed up the Lost, but as I've gotten better at it, the Lost has seemed like the most interesting way to play the game due to difficulty, except that it's not fun. So it's not worth doing. I think the update will fix that, hopefully. But, you know, for the Lost to be your only option for the game not to be too easy, kinda sucks. So I don't want to do that. I mean, I don't know that they're addressing this problem at all. Considering I don't know how many people have talked about it as a problem. But, you know, that's also not the only topic that I intend to talk about. I'm just blanking on all the other things I had in my head at the moment. Because I had a lot of thoughts about things in this game. Like, I used to be the guy that optimized everything, knew everything. I still know most of the things, but I just can't find a reason to optimize. Because it's so, like, the game's easy. Especially when you know things about it. And it just means it's, like, if you optimize, it's just overkill. Most people win most runs, which is a problem about... That's a problem with this game. Most people win most runs. I'm hoping that with Afterbirth, losing will be just as common as winning. Because that's what was good, as it turned out, about the original. If any run you were just as likely to lose as to win, you actually had to do smart things to not die, that was great. Even if, obviously, I can't really stand to play the original anymore. I'm very done with it. That, you know, it turns out that that was the good system. Well, I mean, that's also kind of the same idea. But being too weak in a run is rare. Yeah, no, there's not a lot of reward in this game for playing smart. It's just a reward for playing at all. If you play, you'll get good stuff, you'll win. Yeah, and I mean, they really killed breaking. They thought they were doing it a service, making it a lot easier, more accessible. Gave us items that just straight up did it for us. And that made it a lot less good to do. You know, I don't like breaking in this game. It's not fun. It's not interesting. It's just, like, free and easy, and you can get that stuff without breaking. They took out a lot of the fun stuff you could do with it. Like, you can't get 6 Sacred Hearts in this game. You know, if you want to, too bad. And having the potential to do stuff like that, and all the stuff you had to know to get through that... Like, pulling off 6 Sacred Hearts in the original took, like, at least 3 layers of planning. Things that you had to know and do in order to be able to have a chance for it to happen. And that was kind of really cool. But in this game, you can get whatever you want. Pretty much whenever you want. Game will do it for you. Breakfast also, yeah. I mean, I think that maybe it was only for the D4 and D100. They're bringing back pool looping, at least for those, which is cool, but we need it for rolling, too. And also looping the pool. We didn't figure out why sometimes the pool would refresh until, like, 2.5 years into that game, basically. We finally figured out why sometimes the game crashed instead of refreshing the pool. And it was all these little things. Next, we, like, look at all of the exploits in the original. The things you had to know about the engine, the game, the things that were and weren't coded right, why they were and weren't coded right. It gave you a lot more kind of competition with the game itself. in an interesting way. If you knew what the game did wrong, used it against it, still might not be enough. But like all of the little things that you could learn about the game made it also more difficult, gave it a harder curve, less accessibility, which I mean in a good way rather than a bad way. And from what I know about Afterbirth, the idea is to remove pretty much every exploit, things like that, which just sounds horrible. The exploits make the game for me. Not having little things that I can do because I know a little bit extra about the game and its engine. Why bother? I want to have to learn as much as I can in order to do as well as I can, rather than, you know, here, have this game, it'll win itself, you just kind of have to be there. So it's nice there's some bugs right now, some stuff that you can abuse. I abuse those things. They give me an advantage. They're interesting, it's something extra to know about the game. Some of them have timing involved, it's not even just a free thing. Some of them don't, and that's fine. But to have none of them? I mean, what's the point? What is the point? Stoops, thank you for the 26-month sub. Thank you so much for sticking around for so long. I really appreciate that. I think that, like, the most elegant... I mean, there will be more bugs, but we'll probably patch them, or try to patch them. I think the most elegant solution is give us a third mode, or replace hard mode with kind of a more original mode, basically. Like, a mode that emulates the original game. Oh, I'm dumb. Oh well. You know, give us the old special system. All that stuff. Or, you know, a copy of the old special system that's more suited to this particular game. Make a game that we have to know inside and out to do consistently well at. Because that's what was great, having to know the game inside out. I don't have to know the game inside out like this, like as it is. I don't even really need to know it inside or outside. I try to do both, but I don't have to. Completely unnecessary. But with the original, I had to know pretty much everything I knew. I still didn't win every time or anything. I won some of the time. Yeah, the bad programming errors did a lot of good for that game. Well, okay, so after how criticizing the original special item system got us to where we are at this game, I don't know if it's good to have mediocre items in the special item list. I mean, there were some terrible ones, useless ones in the original that were just, they were special. But maybe that was good, maybe that was bad, maybe only good items need to be in it, I don't know. I really don't know. And that's something that made it interesting, I guess. Considering that I don't even know what was good about this old special item system, I just know that it made the game better. $1 from Mr. Aubergine, maybe, how you say it? I've been watching your vids and streams for a while and I wanted to say thanks. Sorry, it's not that much. That's okay. Thank you so much for the donation and support, and I'm glad that you've been sticking around a while. So I don't know if at this point they're going to actually end up changing that or anything. If they're going to try to do anything to go back to a more original style of difficulty and such. But I can only hope. I mean, I like that they're bugs. I think it makes it more interesting. But, like, obviously, if they just coded in similar exploits, things that are difficult to do and totally knowledge-based. That's fine, too. Just give me an extra layer of skill. Like, the more different layers of skill this game could have, the better. You know, I don't really have to do anything special to do well in this. You give me a couple things that I have to kind of understand. Stuff like that. I mean, it really helps. Because obviously it's brought me down as a channel. That the game is so easy. Like, I'm still good at it and all. But, like, doing the stuff that I'm known, or was known for doing, makes it pointless to play. Which I've been very vocal about, of course. It's just, that doesn't really mean that people still will care. Because obviously it's still not what they expect and want. Yeah. Like I said, I don't know about tiering items. It could be a good solution. It could not be. But I think that the set rarity values that we asked for and they actually implemented were not the actual solution, it turned out. Just a better list of things, more current and reasonable to the current game. Could have been all it took. I miss the way that breaking worked in the past. I don't really miss doing them, but I definitely don't like doing them in this game. They're not fun or interesting. Not unique. You know. Of course, I won't just go back to the original game. As much as I say it's done all these good things, I'm not going to go back to it. I still don't want to play it at all. I'm really done with the original. But, you know. They did accomplish a lot, though, with this game. Listened to the community a lot. Made the game we thought we wanted for the most part. It looks better. Feels better. All that stuff, like I said. It just turns out not to be better, I guess. It's a better game, but it's also a more accessible game. Oops. You know. Maybe all I need is a change to hard mode. Make hard mode less accessible. And less of just, like, less easy but still easy game. Maybe that's it. Maybe not. I don't know. But what I'm hoping is that they change a number of things. Especially if we don't know what those things will be. Like, you know, they haven't told us a ton of stuff about what's happening with the development. Oh my god. So maybe secretly they've been changing all sorts of things. Which would be great. Like, if the game's just suddenly, it plays completely differently, on top of all the stuff they've added, it's probably, like, the perfect change. Well, I mean, you know, the original hard mode was hard, but for all the wrong reasons. It wasn't fun hard. Like, just never getting drops from rooms. It's not fun. Like, I don't want to play the game that way. I want to actually get stuff. I just want to have to work to get that stuff sometimes. Secret rooms are utter garbage. Which is also, like, that's unfortunate. Oops. Well, here's the thing about an Eternal mode. The Eternal update was pretty bad. Because the idea of difficulty for it was that it was completely unfair. I don't want an unfair game. the original was pretty darn fair. It was just... It had systems in place that made it really difficult, while still being fair. You could play in ways that made you do well consistently, even though the game was very inconsistent with giving you good things. Just because you knew stuff. You know. So while you could get the huge win streaks and stuff, it took a lot more work. It was a lot more difficult. Devil rooms, I don't know. I mean, it sucks how they work now, but it's kind of okay with me, honestly. Like, you know, it's not great, but it's probably the least of the problems with this game. I would say. No, this game's easier. Like, that's just very true. I had trouble on a lot of things in the original, up to the time that we stopped playing it. There's really nothing hard in this game. But that's pretty much purely due to the item systems, and not due to anything else. The design is more difficult. The game is not, though, as I've been saying. And I think that part of, like, I appreciate that they made the game, well, they made the paths balanced, sort of. Like, there's a reason to go to Sheol. They made it tougher than the chest, yes, but they made it tougher in unfun ways as well. Which I feel like they didn't consider a lot about that. They're just kind of like, all right, let's make it tougher. People want tougher. Let's go tougher. And they didn't think of, was this the fun kind of tough, or is this the, like, you know, is this what we ended up with? And it really is just what we ended up with instead. Yeah, there are more good items that always show up. Well, that's not great, is it? And for a while, getting all the combos is fun. You know, you haven't gotten these combos. Well, here's the interesting thing. You say you think we have too much health in this game. In the original, there was no health cap for soul hearts. And you could still take a run where you had like 30 soul hearts and die. That happened. That wasn't like unreasonable to see. In this game, if they let you have 30 soul hearts, you would just, there's nothing that would kill you. It's near impossible to die with that much health in this game. The 12 heart cap, you know, we were all worried about that. We thought that would be a big deal. That's like no big deal at all. Interestingly. Of course, the no soul heart cap was a bug. They didn't intend for you to be able to infinitely stack soul hearts, nor did they intend for the red hearts you picked up past the health cap to be kind of like hearts that you could pay to the devil without losing any, because like they weren't added health, but you could use them for double room stuff. Maybe this game would be interesting with a 6 heart cap mode. Or, like, I never tested, if they went with the, original idea for hard mode where everything did a full heart of damage. Maybe that would have been fun. I don't know. I didn't try it, though, like I said. But, like, maybe they should bring that back. I wish I'd actually played it a little bit. Because then I would know if that's like something fantastic for this game. But of course, when I could have played it, the game hadn't been out. I didn't know everything I know now. I didn't have the same thoughts on the balance I had now. So I don't know how much value I could have gleaned from that testing. Guppy, I think Guppy is one of the best parts of this game, in that it's one of the only things that you can really try and play for. Going for Guppy in this gives me the most of the vibes of anything from the original game. It's like, I want to play around getting Guppy. I can do that to more of an extent than I can around getting anything else that this game can give me. And I think that's great. Maybe Guppy's too strong, sure, but like, the act of getting Guppy is actually really interesting. There don't have to be unlocks associated with an extra hard mode. Maybe that's the unlock for 100%ing the game. Like, that works. The 5 heart cap, or not 5 heart, the 5 fly cap, less of a big deal. Like, I don't think that... Obviously, we wanted to not have the 5 fly cap between rooms, but I don't think that that was, I don't know. The way that the game worked, the engine not being able to calculate when you spawn some flies and stuff like that, so you could shoot stuff and not get flies from Guppy because too much stuff was going on the screen. I think that balanced Guppy more than the 5 fly between room cap did. Like, you just kind of had to accept that Guppy wasn't going to work, necessarily. Tough luck. Which was interesting, I guess. It was just another thing you had to know about the game. Then not being able to... You couldn't really underpay for Devil Rooms. Abusing Devil Rooms was a lot harder to do, but at the same time a lot more rewarding, important, and consistent. Angel Rooms were less terrible. Definitely less terrible. And, still I probably, like, I never considered, oh, maybe I should skip this Devil Room to get an Angel Room, unless I was breaking. If I was going for a breaking run all the time. But I think a more consistent Devil Room system, but that only worked because the game was tougher. Like, Devil Rooms had the least... Devil Rooms didn't add to your special counter, basically, which was nice. As long as you paid health for the item, it didn't add to your special counter. You had to play your Devil Rooms a lot smarter. You know, that was... But they were consistent. You were going to be able to do well with them most of the time. Harder to get, probably. But maybe the fly limit and transferring to this game, spider limit, etc., added more than I thought it did. That was something I hadn't thought about at all, actually. It was just kind of, yeah, the old game had a fly limit between rooms. Whatever. Maybe that was a big deal. Or maybe the biggest thing was, like, I'm never going to say that a lot of enemies in the original weren't designed terribly. Like, freaking the Isaac and Blue Baby fights were trash. But they were harder. You had to plan a lot more around them. And that also meant that you had to pick your builds carefully. Like, In this game, Tech 2 is just bad, but in the original, Tech 2 was kind of bad, but if you got certain items, it was really, really good, like Polyphemus, or high enough damage. But you still had to consider, oh, I'm going to be fighting Isaac. Am I going to have that much health? Am I going to be fast enough to do all the dodging? Because Isaac shot at you based on getting shot. You got some completely unfair patterns, which just suck. Like, the new Isaac fight is way better than the old Isaac fight. But once you learn it, it's pretty much free. And I think that what would be fantastic would be design around having fair but really, really hard dodge patterns. So, like, you can have pattern, but you can make it really tough. Some of the Mega Satan patterns are, like, really, really good examples of really good patterns that are not free. They're tough. And, like, still learnable. I still mess up on a lot of Mega Satan patterns. Because it's not like a free... It's not a free fight if you're not as OP as you usually are by the time you get there. Unfortunately. Mega Satan Phase 2 is phenomenal. Mega Satan Phase 1 is good too, though. I think that is a good fight. That's one of the things they did best with this. I also always say that Dingle is one of the best designed fights in this game. It is. But for this game, I mean, we tried to make them get rid of unfair damage. That's a good thing to do. Having unfair damage in this game, especially with a low heart cap, would be bad. But oh, look what boss I'm fighting. If that boss wants to, there's nothing you can do about getting hit. Same with Mama Gertie. No, that's not Mama Gertie. Is it? Yes. Yes, it is. You know, that boss, it'll hit you if it wants to. Sucks to be you. And that was one of the ones that I specifically was like, hey, make sure to make this boss more fair. Concurrently just kind of hit you if it wants to, even if you're playing it right. It's not really up to you. It's just decided to make it more unfair. Unfair damage isn't the solution to a game that's too easy. Oh yeah, Dingle's 100% fair. 100%. Dingle perfectly telegraphs all of its attacks. They all have patterns you can follow to make sure not to get hit by them. But it's still kind of tricky to learn. First few times I fought Dingle, I never avoided taking damage. Oh yeah, flying completely changes the Mama Gertie fight, obviously. Flight in this game is so powerful. It's so good because of the way they changed the rooms. In the original Flight, it didn't matter that much. You didn't need Flight for anything. Like, whatever. I passed up Flight all the time. It helped, of course. It made a lot of things a lot easier. But it's nothing like it is in this game. No, I don't mess up those two tells. I know exactly, like, I don't mess those two up. Dingle is perfectly telegraphed. I know when he's going to charge, I know when he's going to shoot. It's very clear. And a subtle difference isn't a bad thing. A subtle difference means that you have to know it better. It means it's a little tougher to learn, a little more rewarding when you do. But still learnable. Yeah, Flight's really common in this game. In the original, it was a little tougher to get Flight. No, Haunt sucks. Like, there's not one thing about the Haunt fight that I would say is interesting design. Most of it's not, like, bad. It's just none of it's good or interesting. It's not fun and it's not balanced for the point in the game when it shows up. Well, the first phase isn't. The second phase is just, like, free with potential for stupid damage that, like... You know, it's not like... You can play it right. But it's, like, bad. It's not a fun fight. It's not an interesting fight. There's not a pattern that you really spend time learning. Mega Fatty's quick jump can hit you no matter what, sometimes. Depending on what it feels like doing. The quick jump can hit you from across the room unavoidably. It's kind of a bad boss. A lot of people hated the bloat in the original. And I don't have that problem. I think the bloat was perfectly fine and fair in the original. You know, I'm all for that fight. Okay, I see how it is. I need to get another item then. I think the bloat was a good skill-based fight in the original. A little more so than it is now in some ways, because freaking screw the eye hitboxes. The eye hitboxes are bad. I don't really care if you agree on me. Like, you know, a lot of the things I say are opinions. If you don't agree with that one, whatever, that's fine. But, like, the hitboxes for the eyes are bad in this game. They're too big and they seem disjointed. Or maybe it's just that they're disjointed. A quick kill for a skill-based quick kill for each boss, fine. I'm down for that. But really, I think that the better way would just be making the bosses harder. Like, all around, just harder. Yeah, more champion bosses could be fun. I don't know. But I think that, it should be less rewarding skill than requiring skill, if you know what I mean. So I think, sure, we could fight the Haunt, for an example. We could have our Haunt fight, and then if you're good, you could fight the Haunt in a different way that kills it faster. I mean, that's alright. But why, like, if it's really hard, why do it? To show off? Is there some reward for doing it? Like, do you get 2 items or something? And getting 2 items probably isn't a good idea with the way this game came out balanced. So I think it should more just be bosses are fairer, but harder. Overall, just better designed. Double adversary. That's one of this game's ideas of difficulty that just has no place. Adversary's fine. Adversary's a totally okay boss. I have no problems with it. Singular. When you give me 2 in a room, that's when I have a problem with it. That's dumb. That shouldn't happen. You handle a double adversary the same way you handle a regular one. You quarter circle it a lot, but you try to get a quarter circle such that you're doing the same kind of, like, you're quarter circling both bosses at once. And then you hope that their random movement leads them to both be in a similar position so that your quarter circle doesn't have to be anything special and it just is the same quarter circle, like, relative to both. But it's 100% quarter circle stuff, and you're probably fine. No, I don't think that it's the dumb stuff that makes us want to improve. I always say that, like, it's the less accessible stuff about the original that makes it better. From a skilled player perspective. So, I mean, you know, you can still play the original. I don't know why I'm bothering with that. You do fine. Oh, yo, freaking Rookie with the 12-month sub. Thank you so much for sticking around. I really appreciate that. Don't see you too often anymore. Do it. I didn't do it. Oh well. And thank you, Stoops, for the 169 donation. Oh god. I have one question. I have but one question for you right now. Why is the Lenny face not allowed in chat? Or is it allowed now? I haven't tried for like a year. I think technically you can do it, but like, you know, don't. Anyway. I don't think that making the game less accessible is bad. Because obviously you can still play it if you don't know stuff. But you can play it better if you do know stuff. So I think rewarding skill isn't the way to do it. I think that requiring skill is the way to do it. But if you do it in a fair way, like, you could just make the patterns for Isaac really, really dense. They could also try stuff like different boss styles. Like, less, they could do something like, some bosses where, kind of like they do with Mega Satan, honestly, where you can't attack, normally, and you have to do something else before you get to attack, and then you get a window to attack. They don't do that with anything with Mega Satan, really. That could be interesting, especially if they have interesting patterns like the second phase of Mega Satan, which doesn't do that. But, like, imagine the Isaac fight, where Isaac has less health, but the entire thing is a lot of intricate dodging. Kind of like some of the Mega Satan patterns, but instead Isaac shooting him out from the middle and you have to dodge it around it. Like, I don't know, that sounds fun to me. Like, I'm imagining some attacks like the circling Mega Satan attacks. Gotta keep circling, it changes at certain intervals. You have to go the other way, or like really interesting stuff like the double curving in opposite directions thing, or like the weird janky patterns that it does where like tears go like in zigzags. But I think that rather than trying new design in a lot of places, they searched for difficulty or balance in places where it wasn't. Because like Isaac's a good boss now, but it's really easy. Like, if that's where my game's gonna end, make those patterns really, really hard instead of what they are. Double Trouble Isaac? Oh, man. But, like, the thing is, none of those patterns are hard to dodge. So even two of them probably wouldn't be bad unless it gave you unfair patterns, which is not what you should have in your game. Thank you, RJW Boys, for the 12-month sub. Thank you so much for sticking around as well. Really appreciate that. I don't know. I think that they should have tried tighter, fairer pattern attacks more often. Like, if they want to give us all the item stuff, like with the special items that we thought we wanted, and, like, that's just not a thing that changes, that's fine. But I think that instead give us something, give us a lot of really tough dodges and whatnot. I'd be all for that, man. Oh, get this for free. Okay. Oops. Okay, good. I don't know what they were thinking with Angel Rooms. Like, I don't know what they were thinking at all. Oops. They're just so bad. And it's so dumb. But a different idea of balance is what this game needs, to me. Rebirth is cancelled was a terrible meme. Oh, that's okay. So I didn't spend much time mentioning it, but the idea of the bugless game, that is kind of what they're going for. I mean, I did talk about it, but the idea of removing all the bugs from the game does remove a lot of the interest for me. Not that I won't play it, of course, I'll play it just as much. But it kind of sucks that there might be a time when I don't get to abuse anything that the game isn't supposed to have. So the, like, bugs that I think about when I say that are things like, let's see, what's a good one? It's been so long since I played the original. But good abusable bugs, I did a stupid. It's alright. Good abusable bugs. Ooh, that's it's tricky. It's been so long. They were so automatic. Brimsnapping was cool. I liked it. Except that it was kind of not consistent. Yeah, that's the thing. Blue Baby stealing Devil Runes. That's a good one. That's a very good one. That made Blue Baby interesting. Fun to play. A little random, but the game was a little random. Boss respawning with flies. That's a perfect one. Why remove that? I don't care. Like, it doesn't make the game bad. Like, just make it not add mom kills or something. Like, hard-code it into the game so that it's not doing something you don't want it to, but let it stay there. When I wanted to greed farm, or farm a boss to get extra kills and stuff like that, that's a streak thing more than anything. I think the general Brimstone buff is bad. Comparatively. Like, Brimstone with 2 hits was okay. Brimstone with a kind of variable damage based on your mashing and luck. The only problem with that is that it's based on your luck at all. But based on your mashing skill and timing, made it a more interesting item. It didn't instantly win you the game. You don't get 13 hits unless you work for 13 hits. I don't know, I like that. But, like, I have a bad run, and I have worked my way into my arcade giving me an IV bag, and my shop giving me a portable slot. I abused those things properly. It's fine that they removed the infinite money exploit with the IV bag. That's totally cool. I understand that. Anyway, I worked my way into those 2 items. My run's terrible. My boss happens to be the bloat. Well, my run's really bad. but it's only going to stay bad. So obviously right now I farm the bloat with my 2 items that I can exploit that for. I'm probably going to die trying, but if I don't die, I can get a lot of items. I did exactly this on maybe Peep, not the bloat. Better Call Raoul, thank you for the 9-month sub. Thank you so much for the continued support and sticking around. Super awesome. Like I was saying, obviously I farmed the bloat there because my run's dead either way. If I happen to kill the bloat consistently and get like 5 items out of it, one of them's probably going to be okay. You know, one of those items will probably help me out. If I also happen to have a D6, then I can probably do even more with that. It's just smart play that, in that case, doesn't really hurt the balance of the game because you have to be really good to abuse it, and you have to know that it's abusable. It's also really situational. How often are you going to get those 2 items? And if you don't get those 2 items, you're probably not going to get very many flies from the portable slot. So it's like, it's not one of those exploits that needs to be fixed. It's one of those exploits that adds to the game, just straight up. Obviously, if you're one of the lucky people that gets it on the first floor, like I did a few times. Like, you get it on the first floor and you want to fight Duke of Flies 18 times. Well, okay, yeah, that's fine, do that. But that's also just smart play and good luck. So I have no... that's one of those things that didn't need fix. That's didn't need fixing. That's a really good example of an abusable bug that was in no way detracting from the game and instead just got fixed. Like, you could use that to regain D6 charges. Great. So that's definitely a good one. And I think brimsnapping was... it was more interesting than the current Brimstone. The current Brimstone is better than most people could brimsnap. Which, you know, makes it kind of really good. Even brimsnapping and consistently hitting 4s instead of 2s on the original was, like, good. But not game-winning necessarily. Yeah, exploits, I think exploits are a good thing. Making it the goal to remove them all from the game, I think, is a bad thing. Like, if your exploit isn't, like, way too easy and really game-breaking, there's no reason not to have it. Brimsnapping, boss respawning, greed farming. Like, greed farming was kind of easy, but at the same time, you're likely to get hit by greed. Like, you're likely to get hit by greed. It just is true. It's really easy to get damaged by greed, especially when your goal is to leave one enemy alive so that you can freaking fight greed again when you leave. They just, like, took that out. They're just like, yeah, we don't want you to ever do that. It was still hard. It was still risky. There are plenty of ways that could go wrong. I've died greed farming in the original. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. It's part of the game. It doesn't instantly win you the game. It's not game breaking. Like, a lot of the... most of the exploits even, maybe, in the original were skill based. Why get rid of them? Yeah, you can still greed farm in this game, of course, but you can't do it in the same way. And, like, you had to bomb every time for a greed farm in the original. Like, I appreciate from a convenience standpoint that they removed the requirement to rebomb into your secret room if you if you messed up and didn't go in or something, or you had to go back. I appreciate from a convenience standpoint that they fixed that, but I would rather have greed farming when necessary, even though I only used it like 5 times probably in the original. I would rather have that than what we have, because that just meant that I had to have better bomb management. I never used bombs in this game. Bombs are like completely unnecessary. I end up with so many of them at the end of pretty much every run. Seems better to just have to make me bomb into the rooms again. And so some quality of life changes, improvements of course, kind of watered down the game in some ways, like that one. So I don't think a lot of this stuff will be coming back though for Afterbirth, of course. I can only hope, or I can only hope that we get a game mode eventually, or a patch eventually that just kind of changes some of this stuff. But it's my biggest worry is that Afterbirth isn't going to make things harder. It's just going to make there be more items and more combos that just make the game easy still. That would be sad. Be real, real sad. Get wrecked, chat. That's all I have to say. No, I don't enjoy the original more than Rebirth. I just think the original had a better, accidental, of course, balance that didn't end up in this game due to, whatever, not realizing that it was a better method of balancing. Like, absolutely. More fun, though? No, maybe given a time when I still wanted to play the original, maybe. Yeah, it's possible. But I don't want to play the original anymore, so I'm not going to say it's more fun now. The original, when I was at the top of enjoying the original, maybe I would have preferred it, yeah. I think original hard mode was bad. I really do. Like, yes, it was hard, not getting any drop ever, but that's not good. That's still the wrong kind of difficulty. There wasn't really anything you could do a lot of the time to get the drops you wanted. I would try to optimize that stuff, and I still wouldn't get my drops. And I would have to skip item rooms. I would rather get the items and them be bad, useless, not worth taking, like the original often did with its special item system, than not get it at all. Because the game builds its satisfaction around trying to get stuff, trying to get items, and then either getting them or getting bad items or whatever. The reward is getting to see an item. And not getting to see an item at all, why bother? Nah, 3-room D6. I mean, it was OP and all, but wouldn't fit this version. It fit the original. Yeah, difficulty should be skill-based and not luck-based. That's absolutely. And, like, considering how niche the original Binding of Isaac was, you can make it difficulty that is tough to learn the solution to. You can make it inaccessible difficulty for most people. And that's not a bad thing. Bombing in the black market is a pretty good trick. It's a pretty good trick. Black markets aren't like mega valuable, but it's good to lock in your devil rooms if you couldn't, I guess. Well, we didn't we didn't know, but the original Isaac was pretty good in a lot of ways compared to this. Like, it has its bad design, but it also has some pretty good design that we just didn't realize was good design. That's kind of a lot of what has been the topic today. Well, I mean, I know at least a couple of the testers are people with really good input and understanding of the balance. Cobalt wasn't a tester, to my knowledge. Hopefully they listen to them. I'm sure Cobalt had some influence. A decent amount of it. But, you know, obviously, one player shouldn't design the game. Yeah. Wait, what the? Okay. Still. We'll see how it ends up. They had good testers, though. They've got chances to do well with it. I don't know. I haven't talked to Cobalt about the old special item system. I was just having a chat with Northern Lion last night about stuff because of some pre-release stuff that is going on with Afterbirth. That, no, we don't get to play it or anything. Just, you know, nothing important to anyone. We were just talking about some stuff. And a few things came up about that. And, like, how we both agree that this game is too easy. Well, you know, stuff like that. Anyway. Just planning things. But that's where I kind of got the idea, as I mentioned some stuff about like how this game turned out. That's where I got the idea to even talk about all this stuff on stream. You know, just kind of came up. It wasn't bad. The original was just a different game. Yeah, oh no, I haven't done full Lost on my YouTube save. I'm waiting for the update. I think that okay. This game is badly balanced in favor of the player. For what it is. You know. I got the original the day it came out. No, I won't reset my save. Why would I do that? Well, a lot of the stuff we were talking about today is what I would change. It's just that a lot of it isn't quite as concrete, basically. And I don't know exactly how it should play out, but the game should be more skill and knowledge and less just handing everything to you. That's pretty obvious to me. You should have to work to have a good run. You should have to know things to have a good run. But you really don't, as it stands. I would have a lot of the balance fixed, like... In the original, for example, you pretty much couldn't end up with tiers that were larger than you. That was hard to do. That was, like, really hard to do. Even with breaking. Your tiers didn't really end up that much larger than you, ever. Ever. And because of that, they couldn't do an entire boss's worth of health in one hit. And when you did do that, you broke the game hard, and you planned for that being your only goal. That's just one thing. Like, to get tiers as big as a screen, you had to have a ton of health, the wafer, and then, like, Polaroid invincibility and the razor blade. It was the only way to get tiers that big. Practically. In this game, you just end up with tiers as big as the screen casually. It just kind of happens because you got a little bit lucky. Like, that's just what the items gave you. It's not an uncommon occurrence. Well, the original ended up like that. I mean, they would need to recode a few key aspects, and then the rest of the game could stay the same. Like, if they wanted to fix that. If they really wanted to fix that. But, like, in the original, it was hard to become powerful. And becoming powerful didn't mean your tiers one-shotted bosses or two-shotted bosses or, like, literally cleared every room instantly. That's not what that meant. That, like, in the original, it meant that you had tiers that were, like, kind of useful. That was being powerful. You know, Magic Mushroom was great, but it wasn't a magic, like, it has the exact same effect as the Magic Mushroom in this game, yet it just wasn't as good by a long shot. And it was like 5 times as rare. Max's head too, like, you know. Yeah, we talked about having Soul Hearts off the screen. It wasn't as big of an advantage as it might seem, as was said earlier. You could still die if you had 30 Soul Hearts and Polaroid invincibility. That was still a thing you could do. It was not an unreasonable thing to happen. You could die. No problem. In this game, 12 hearts is like too much. Like, you can't die if you work hard to do it a lot of the time. Which is kind of you know, unfortunate. I never play Osu, and I never will. How does this keep happening? I played the original for like a week when Florian's Eternal update came out. I don't plan on playing it again. I don't like that game anymore. I don't want to play it. Well, I don't like it isn't the right way to say it. I don't want to play the original anymore. I'm very, very tired of it. It had its time. I did everything I could do with it. No, what makes this game easier is that the special item system change we thought we wanted turned out not to be good for the game. We get good items constantly in this game, and they make you way more powerful. So enemy health ends up just melting. You end up not losing health because everything dies really quickly with like any build, because you're constantly getting good items. So it's like, you know, every build is a good build. And even though the enemy design and the room design is tougher, it's just, you know, an easier game because of the item system. Which again, I'm not going to blame them for, because we all, like, including me, and like I was a big voice for it, we all wanted the special item system removed. Or drastically changed. And they did that. They did that for us. It just turns out that, in my opinion, we were 100% wrong. The old system was better for that. There were still problems with the older game that we had fixed. Like, I want to look at certain enemy health. Like, some of the enemies in the original were just, they had bad health values for where they showed up in the game and what your average build was there. Rooms with keepers were boss fights, basically, in the original. You had a keeper fight, you were going to be in there a while. There were 4 keepers in your caves 1 room, catacombs 1. And you weren't already somehow OP because you had a really lucky build. Sucks to be you. It's going to take you a while. Keepers, Masks, and Hearts, they had bad health values. They did. They could still be tough enemies with better health values. That's something they listened to me about. And, you know, Keeper health and Mask and Heart health was reduced. And, you know, that's for good. That's like a good thing. But only with the balance of the original game, it turns out. Eternal Fly health, that's a good one to think of as well. Eternal Flies, it took 5 hits to kill them. It's pretty funny. Yeah, I mean, the special items in this game, like, they made them not matter. It doesn't matter to me if I get any special items in this game. They're mostly just like, they're there and they don't matter to me. I don't care. In the original, I had to think about every item I took. Is this item special? Because more than half the items in the game were special, basically. It's like, oh, okay. And that's a little overkill as well, but like all of these good items that you actually wanted and helped your build a lot, even ones that helped your build minor amounts, they were special and you had to think about taking them if you wanted to take any others that might show up. That was good and bad, of course, but I didn't realize until spending a lot of time with this game that it was probably more good. It made you think about your build. If you wanted to end up with something good, you had to play smart. You had to really think about every item. But you still got to see the items, of course, which is a big thing. If you don't get to see the items, it's not even... You know, that's what this game's about for me, and most people, is seeing and getting items. But in the original hard mode of this game, when you had a pretty decent chance to not get to go to your item room on any given floor, that wasn't fun because you didn't even get to see the items. If it was like, oh, I got to see this item, but it sucked and I didn't want to take it, I'm fine with that. I saw the item. It's not, like, you know, it's not the game's fault. It's not my fault. Item's just bad, or it's detrimental, or it's not worth increasing my special count. And that's fine. But I got to see it. It's not going to change this time. Nah, I don't think that Guppy balance is bad. Besides, like, powerful in this game, yes, it's too powerful. But I don't think that the balance of being able to go for it in either game is a bad thing. In this game, it's one of the few things that you can actually try to do. Like, it's the only build that you can really go for and plan for and play around getting. And that has the most vibes from the original of pretty much anything that made it into this game. In a good way. Guppy in the original, I don't have a problem with it. It was fine. It was not too powerful. I mean, like, kind of was, but it still wasn't. It wasn't, like, mega OP. It was still something to plan around. Some of the decisions required to get it were risky. And in this game, that's still there. Just then it turns out really too powerful. But I like that this is one of the things that I can influence the RNG to get a build for. That's like the best part about the original game. Playing the game around certain things happening. Having to know what you want to do to make something happen when it doesn't seem like it's going to. There's a lot of stuff to abuse and learn to influence the way the game worked in, of course, supposedly random ways. But you had a lot more control over the RNG if you knew what you were doing. In this game, there's just so much good stuff that it doesn't really matter if you want to do that. It's just like there's both no reason to and not much of an ability to. No, I don't think that Kane Tech 2, etc. is really OP in this. What kind of celebration would breaking the game be? It's not very fun in this game. I'm not going to try to. It's not my goal. I don't like breaking the game in this game. It's just not as good. Yeah, I mean, the double room system was probably better in the original. You were guaranteed to get items, but you really had to decide what you wanted to do. Even though you could have a higher health cap in the original, the likelihood of getting a lot of health before really, really late in the game was relatively low. Planning around your devil rooms was actually, like, difficult. You don't know that it's going to work out for you if you want to take something just to lock in devil rooms. There was a lot that could kind of go wrong with any given devil room. And planning around devil rooms and playing them properly was a lot tougher. It was a lot more interesting in that as example. Okay, Samson shouldn't have been so bad. Like, Samson was just too dang bad in the original. Yeah, breaking in the original took a lot of planning, a lot of knowledge, and a lot of effort. In this game, it's free. Any run you want to do it, you probably can. Oh, there were so many interesting things about Double Rooms. So much planning and cool stuff that you could do, or had to do, to get it right. It's just, I appreciated that so much. You could say that about a lot of different things. Breaking this game comes down to starting with Isaac and rerolling your shop until you get Sharp Plug, which you could do really easily most runs. That's not a problem. Or right now, I have Habit Scapular. Which took a lot more planning than the original, by the way. Unless you're really lucky, of course, which happened, but... yeah, stealing Double Room items was interesting in the original. And as much as I didn't like it, I really hated it, in fact, getting the Soul Heart deals randomly to replace One Heart deals was kind of interesting. Like, I don't know. Baru, thank you so much for the 9-month sub. Thanks for sticking around, man. Hope everything's going alright for you. I really appreciate the continued support. Sharp Plug planning is nothing like the planning in the original. It really isn't. The mistakes made frequently with Habit Scapular in the original, it was weird. And like Scapular was, there was potential to like not do it right, because in certain situations Scapular wouldn't do its thing properly, kind of, in specific situations. And then of course in the original you had to manage your lag. You had to know when you were, when you needed to clean stuff out and whatnot. Stealing Double Rooms, stealing the items, all you had to do was, like, it was a Soul Heart deal, and you, sure, why not? You had to have enough Soul Hearts and then use Invincibility. That was really all it was for stealing Double Room items. But it was like, it made Blue Baby interesting because Blue Baby could always do it as long as you had an Invincibility item or were willing to sacrifice health once you had a Polaroid or a Celtic Cross or something. I don't think that, I agree necessarily, playing around the parts that were actually broken. Unless you mean using that to your advantage, because it wasn't like, oh, this game's bad and I have to do this because it's bad. It's like, I want to do this because this is a little bit of an error that I can abuse, which is good, whereas this is bad, so I have to play around it so that it's not, like, screwing me over. That's not a thing that I, think was a thing. Yeah, negative health. So if you overpaid for a Double Room item in the original, say it was a 2-heart deal, you had 1 red heart, so 2 red heart deal, you had 1 red heart and some soul hearts, and you wanted that item anyway. You could take it, sure, but it was going to take all of your health and set you to -1 red heart. Or if you had no red hearts, you could take a red heart deal. It would take all of your current soul hearts, And then you'd be alive at no health, which was kind of funny. So you just die in one hit. You had to know when that was worth it. And even if it was something like the Pact that gives you soul hearts, you get those soul hearts and then you lose all your health. So no matter what, you're ending up with no health. So it's just another thing about double rooms that you had to plan. Yeah, no, I don't know why negative health was removed either. It didn't really need to be removed, it was fine. It made sense, too. And so obviously at negative health you had to pick up health ups, and they wouldn't do anything, because say you took a 2-heart deal at 1 heart. You're at negative 1 health, the next health up you take is not doing anything. You're not getting a health up because it's getting you back to 0 from negative 1. So you had to be really aware of that. Well, yeah, considering that it could, like, if they did just suddenly make changes and make it more like the original, that does make it harder for people that are just more casually into it. That's why probably the best solution is just changing hard mode or making a 3rd difficulty mode where that stuff is changed for the really hardcore people. And they don't have to tie unlocks to it. It could be the final unlock, for example. That's something else that I've said earlier. Yeah, I'd play a 3rd tier difficulty. Like, give me an original difficulty mode, I'm all for it, I'll play it. I'll main it, it's fine. Well, I don't think they need to keep all of the things from the original. Like, as cool as it was finally learning what made the game crash when you exhausted the item room pool and then playing around it, that doesn't need to stay. Like, they could just make it always refresh, and that's fine. But give us the more difficult, like, things about the original, give us the exploits and whatnot. Things like that, without keeping, oh, the game crashed because you took too many use items, and you wanted to keep rerolling. What were you thinking, you idiot? Like, it's fine. I don't know how much I'd compare it to Monsoon. But I mean, just, you know, 3rd difficulties, it's fine. Yeah, I mean, I think the 3-option thing is probably the most elegant and reasonable. Yeah, no, I think it being a final unlock would be a really good idea as well. I don't even know if I agree that the rules card has a purpose. Like, I know what it's meant to do, but I can't say I care. No one's gonna figure out the Lost alone. It's just not gonna be done. And then any of that other stuff, pretty easy to figure out without the card. Like, you're not even going to unlock the card by the time you figure most of it out. Like, you'll probably get the random Angel Room rock blowing up when you enter the room thing before you get the card that says, awake, sleeping, whatever, with a loud noise or something, you know? This rules card's dumb. Just really is dumb. Ugh. This is like the OG breaking with habit scapular. So scapular gives me a soul heart when I get to half a heart. This is the kind of thing you had to do in the original when you wanted to break the game, because it was the only way. There were no batteries or anything. There was no sharp plug. You just had to know what you were doing. Get a habit, get a scapular. It was a lot tougher to do. A lot more abuse had to be done to pull it off. They do want us to break the game. A lot of the stuff they added was because they wanted to make breaking more accessible and fun, which accessible, yes, they accomplished that, but I don't think it's so much less fun. Well, battery was a different item in the original. It did a completely different thing. Using it to break sucked. I only did it once because it sucked that much. And then 9-volt didn't really matter with the braking setup because it freaking, like, it didn't help you. It didn't get you any less hits that you had to take to activate your item again. Like, it still took 2 hits from the habit. And it, like, you know, it gave you 1 charge, and that was about all it was useful for. On the plus side, it didn't break your braking setup. You could still do that just fine. You could still use your braking setup. Unlike in this game. People have been saying this game is easier for a long time. But it's very true. It is easier. The game constantly hands you good builds. And isn't harder. Like, well, okay, no, it is harder. It constantly hands you good builds so that it can't show that it's harder, is what it, you know. Yeah, running through every item in the original, which is 198 items or something, took like a minimum of, I want to say, an hour and 30 minutes. Both due to lag management and setup time and stuff. All the work you had to do to set it up. In this game, you can easily do it in 40. You can run through every item in the game, 343 items, in easily 40 minutes. Whereas 198 in the original. An hour and a half. If you know what you're doing. Well, the thing about The Lost is it's bad design. They made a character that can't get hit in the game where they intentionally put unfair damage so that you would have to, Alright. So that you wouldn't have a free win all the time. You know? So Lost is just here. Unfair damage for you. But you can't get hit, so be careful. Oh, I have a blood donation machine, don't I? Seems far more useful. I think a lot's a stretch, but yeah, there are going to be runs when you get no good items. It happens to everyone. But most of the time, the game really does just make itself free. It just is like, here, have all the good stuff that you want. It's right here, waiting for you. Well, I think that in Afterbirth it won't put them into your collection for you, because I think that the way it's that they're making D100 and D4 and stuff loop and actually continue to go through the item pools is I think that they're making it so that it doesn't count as collected, so that it can show up again if you got it specifically from the thing, so it won't show up on your pause screen, as far as I know. So if it doesn't show up on your pause screen, it probably doesn't show up in your collection. Probably. I could be, I have no idea. I could easily code an exception for it in that, but like I think that's how they're doing it. Well, another reason that you might not like get good builds really consistently is you might not have unlocked everything. Once you have everything unlocked, there are a lot more good items. I'm just doing this run so I have, so I can like talk to people. You know, the whole point of this is just to have a chat about balance and changes and things as we've been doing. Remember I was saying that it's like you never got tiers bigger than yourself pretty much in the original unless you really, really worked for it? I worked for this a little bit, but not very much. So, as the community, including me, asked, we wanted items to have set rarity values instead of the special item system where half of the items in the game, more than half the items in the game, were special. It's like 57. Almost, yeah, not quite half. But anyway, we wanted a system other than that, with set rarity values and whatnot, and they gave it to us. So there's set rarity values for most items. A lot of them are low and all. Just, you know, them not becoming more uncommon from having other good items turns out to be a bad thing. Tough luck. Like, there were combos in the original. There were item combos that I didn't see until, like, 800 hours played and stuff like that. In this game, I'm at, like... What am I at right now? Let's find out. 675 hours. I don't really feel like there's anything that I need to work to get, or, like, really want to see because I haven't yet. Because most of the time you get, like, combos that, you know, it's not hard to come by them because they're all just, like, handing themselves to you. And a lot of the time, there was a build that I wanted that I hadn't yet gotten in the original. By the way, cool thing, I can just leave and it won't be able to pay out, so it'll never break. Anyway, there were combos that I had to really, really try to get because I hadn't seen them, and they just, like, it was uncommon to have some combos just show up without spending a lot of time working for them. So they were combos that took me most of my playtime to get for the first time. Whereas in this game, you know, I've probably seen pretty much all the combos. They're not uncommon. I've had, I think, 1 or 2 all-teeth runs in this game. I only had, like, 3 in the original, so it's not a huge change. I don't play Azazel, because Azazel's like really boring and easy. No, I don't really talk to the devs now. You know, I'm not a beta tester now, and they didn't listen to a lot of the feedback I gave them anyway. They listen to some, though. They listen to, like, bugs and whatnot, and certain balance issues that I stressed enough. I guess that's kind of an opinion thing. Because it's not like that item combo is so life-changing or so, like, standard or important that it matters to see it quickly. So I just saw that as, it was satisfying to get it for the first time in the original when you had that kind of thing, where it took you forever to find certain combos and whatnot. Oh no, this was for the, like, first release of Rebirth. I don't know that they're going to do anything I've talked about in, you know, since, like, ever at this point. Excuse me. There you go. Of all the problems I have with the original Isaac, and as fair of a problem as it is to have, like, the frame rate, that's just one of those things that you get used to. I mean, I never had frame rate issues. Some computers that were really strong, though, had frame rate issues with it, where it couldn't run at the consistent 30 for some strange reason. I always ran it at 30 unless I was breaking, and it was not a problem, though. Hey, Zerai. Wow, been a while since I've seen Isaac's heart. So they so fervently avoid unlocking it. Oh, whatever, it's fine. Yeah, I think that should still crash. Adishim, thank you for the 15-month sub. Thank you so much for sticking around for the super long continued support. Really appreciate it. Oops. Good hype chat. I could consider the game well balanced for normal players for a few. I don't know. I don't think that it takes long. I don't think it takes as long as it takes to get real Platinum God for the game to become easy. I think it gets easy even for a new player well before the time when real Platinum God shows up. Besides The Lost. The Lost took a really long time to be something that I didn't consider, like, impossible and dumb. Because, like, now, after having done those Lost runs for the streak deaths, I don't even think The Lost is that hard. Because I guess I've just improved that much since, like, starting having to do the Lost stuff. It's like, now the Lost is like, yeah, okay, I could just casually bust out a Lost run here and there and it would not be that bad. I don't even take respawn items necessarily. I just start the first, like, decent item I see and don't even worry about respawns, and I can still do it. That took a lot of work to get to that point. And, like, it's clear that, obviously, I can still improve in this game. It's not like skill is irrelevant. But skill may as well be irrelevant. Except for the Lost. Lost shouldn't be in random, that's for sure. But it is. I'm actually really consistent at Lost's boss rush. The last bunch of times I've played The Lost, I've gotten there, like... And by which I mean, I've, like, done the sets of Lost runs for Streak Death. I got there, and, like, at least one of those runs, each time I beat the boss rush, even with bad builds. It just takes practice. I don't know when I got suddenly, like, way better to the point where I could do that, but... You know. I just don't find anything with The Lost too bad anymore, because I've improved that much. Crazy as it is. For The Lost to not be, like, the dumbest thing. Right now, I stream Isaac here and there, but when Afterbirth comes out, I'll be streaming it every day. Tough fight, man. Tough fight.